Hey everybody, how's it going? It's Crystal Flaffy, and today we are going to be talking about Moana. I did want to talk about Moana, not because anything special with her was going on, or anything like that, but she did get a change for some of her mons in the recent balance patch, and also she's a very important mon for early game players, so I do think it is important to talk about her. So that is what we're going to do. And let's go over to Fire to start things off, as always. And just scroll down. The only thing I hate about doing videos on Nat 3 is because we have to do so much scrolling to get to them. I think I just... Oh no, there she is. Okay. So here's the Evo 1, and the Evo 2, and Evo 3. Really hoping she does get a Super Evo eventually. She is deserving of it, and I think it'd be very helpful for her, definitely. Not saying that she's bad. We'll get into that. We'll get into how good or bad they are in a moment. But anyway, we'll start off with Fire. Here's the variant. I like the variant more. Yeah, I like the variant more. Anyway, looking at her stats, Fire Moana is a tank. She has a really good HP stat for a Nat 3. Like, it's amazing. Just our last video, Wood Siegfried was a tank with only like 39k HP. Look at Moana, Nat 3, 42k HP. So it's really good. Really good HP stat. But her attack and defense are terrible. They definitely need a boost, or at least a lot of investment to get anything out of them from gemming. But let's look at her skills before we get to that. She has SP Siphon on her 3-star for 20%. I do not have a Fire Moana at the moment, so I couldn't check the skill book values on it, but I'm assuming it gives a 5% boost to her SP Siphon. It could give a 10%, but that's wishful thinking. It's probably only a 5%. And then a little damage boost as well. Then on her 5-star, she has Fatigue, 60% 2 turns. I did look up skillbook values for Moana because I don't have Light or Dark, so I did need to look that up. And before the balance patch, she did get a 20% boost for her Fatigue, so it was 80% 2 turns with a 10% damage boost. I don't know if that's still the case, but if it is, there you go. Fire Miho is summonable. You can get it from Soul Stones or whatever, so you can check that yourself if you have one. If not, you'll get one eventually. I just didn't want to wait until I summoned one. I summoned all my eggs and don't have enough soul stones for Fire Moana, so I couldn't check myself. But anyway, there's that. Where you would use her, PvP, you can use it for PvP for defense or offense, just because SP Siphon. And then also for Wood Colossus as well, because SP Siphon, and she does have an elemental advantage for that dungeon. Those are the only places that you'd use her, and you'd only be using her for SP Siphon because Fatigue is the worst skill in the game. It's pretty much useless. So, if you do use Fire Moana, it's just because of the SP Siphon and her tanky HP. How I would build her? I would probably go HP defense over HP defense, just because her HP stat is really high and her defense is very low, so it does need a lot of investment. I did do a little bit of a calculation with 2 6-star defense gems. She can get 3,346 defense, depending on how they round the decimals, which is pretty good. Her HP with just 1 gem would be over 70k. But her defense with just 1 gem is only like, let's see, it's only 2,382, which is very low for a mon that you want to be tanky. So I would definitely go HP defense. Anyway, that is it for Fire. Again, Fatigue is useless, so only use her if you plan to use it for the SP Siphon. Other than that, let's move on. Water Moana, where are you? There she is. Now, Water Moana is actually a very important mon especially among the Monas, especially among all mons for newer players. She is kind of like a starting point for speeding up progress. Normally, for newer players, it's always recommended that they build Water Mona, just because she'll be very helpful for you for clearing GB8, the easiest golem dungeon that has a chance of giving out 6-star gems. That's why when you start out, people will be like, oh, build a Mona, build 3 Monas, build 4 Monas, or whatever. I think just 1 is okay, but anyway. So she's definitely a very important mon, and let's get into why. But before that, let's look at her design. I really like the variant. Mine is variant, and I got really used to the dark-haired one, and I love it. She's an attacker. She has good attack stat for a Nat 3 and good HP. Overall, her defense. Overall, her stats are great for a Nat 3. So, really good. And looking at her skills, she has a morale boost on her 3-star, 20%. Skill books bring it up to 25 and give a 20% damage boost. And then on her 5-star, she has defense down, 50% 2 turns, which isn't great, but books bring it up to 70% and do give a 15% damage boost. So it does end up being pretty good in the end. I just realized I didn't mention the leader skill with fire, which isn't too big of a deal since you're more so going to want to build water anyway, and her leader skill is more useful for water because it is an attack boost leader skill. It is elemental specific, so it's only for water mons, but it is 30 to 35%, which just, because it is element specific, it just points out more that you're going to want to use her for like golems for GB8 with a full water team and her as your leader. Especially because, you know, she is farmable, so getting a variant wouldn't be too difficult for that. Where you would use her, as I said, golems, GB8. Farming in general, stages with Firemon, she'll be really good in. But then, of course, GB8. And maybe for DB9, I don't know how well she'll do there, just because the Mons in DB9 do hit hard. I don't know how survivable she would be for that. I don't use mine there, so I don't know from experience. But she's definitely can be used there. What else? PvP offense, just for like early PvP, while you're still working on getting stronger mons. And also for Titans as well, early, just for that defense down until you get better defense down mons. Of course, she would just be a placeholder there, but a decent placeholder for the long run, until you can get something better, like a Water Shelly or Water Lat or something like that. And how I would build her, I'd build her full offensively. If you can get Siphon Set, which you probably won't be able to get Siphon Set early on, but later on you can definitely get a Siphon Set for her to improve her speed, by building her crit rate attack or crit rate attack crit damage, or even crit rate attack HP if you're using it for more PvP rather than farming. And I believe that is it. I did have a Water Mona built before, but I don't use her anymore, so I just took off her gems and boxed her, so I can't show off mine. But just know she's really good mon, especially for early game, just to get through that GB8. But anyway, on to wood. There you are. And here's the variant. I did actually build up a wood Mona from the bounce patch. Mine is a variant, but I do think I like the regular one more, just on the colors alone. But anyway, let's look at the stats. She is a defender. Her HP stat is really good for a Nat 3. Her defense is good as well, just it'd be nice if it was a little bit higher, but it's fine. Unfortunately, her attack is actually terrible, which isn't a big deal because she's more of a tanky mon, but she's not going to be super threatening, which isn't super great. If somebody attacks you, she's not going to provide as much of a... She's not going to be a big priority for your opponent to take out, what I mean. They can just let her sit there. But anyway, let's get straight to her skills. She has Adrenaline on 3-star, 20%. Skill books bring it up to 25% and give a 20% damage boost. And then she has Fearless Taunt on her 5-star, 80% 1 turn. Skill books bring it up to 90% and give a 25% damage boost. She did used to have regular Taunt on her 5-star, which was pretty bad, but Fearless Taunt, of course, is so much better. And she's one of the first mons to get Fearless Taunt on AoE, so that's something else to keep in mind. The only other mon I think is Light Nightmare, because I think it was only those two that got it in the balance patch. I might be missing someone, but those two both got in the balance patch, and those are the only two that I remember off the top of my head. Where you would use her, PvP defense. You wouldn't really want to use her anywhere else, just that. And how I would build her, HP defense. You can go HP defense, but HP defense would be better just because it would affect her adrenaline more. Mine is built HP defense, and we'll get to her in a moment, or we'll get to her after we go through the other monas. But and we'll go as to why that mine is built like that. Pretty much I just wanted to complete a set, but I would definitely recommend HP defense over HP defense. But now let's go on to light. Yeah, I don't think I missed anything when speaking about wood. There she is. Super cool. There's the variant. I like the regular one more. Yeah, I do. I like the regular one more. Looking at her stats, she's a defender. She has good HP for a defender as well. And her defense is good too, as well as her attack. Overall, her stats are really good for a defender. So, yeah. Her normally, you wouldn't care about her attack because she is an aggressor. But her 3-star does not have aggression, so her attack stat does still affect it. So it's okay that it's a bit higher. But speaking of her 3-star, it is adrenaline, 25% on HP. So just looking at wood, it's 5% better. And then skill books do bring it up to 30. So it is still better than woods, even with books. And then gives a 20% damage boost as well. And then on her 5-star, she has aggression defense, which gets a 40% damage boost. I don't have Light Mona, so I can't confirm if it was changed or not since the balance patch. This is just from the old notes that are on Reddit. Hopefully it's still the same. If not, I apologize. I didn't really have a way of checking, so... and same goes for Dark as well, but we'll get to Dark when we get there. Where you would use Light, though, is PvP. And she might be useful for Dark Colossus, maybe. Her adrenaline would be helpful, but I don't know how helpful, just because it won't be healing too much of her HP. So there's that, but I don't know. Maybe she can do okay with the backline. I don't know. That would involve a lot of experimenting, but it's possible she can be helpful there if you don't have the mons for it yet. But mostly you're going to want to use it for PvP. Defense or offense doesn't really matter too much. But more so for defense, especially during special season, you can have her as your hidden, so she'll just pop up and hit off with that defense aggression. How I would build her, defense, of course, as you would with all aggressors. HP defense might be something that you can try with her, just because it'll increase the amount she heals with her adrenaline, but it would, of course, lower her defense stats, so she'll be doing less damage. Just need to keep that in mind. And, yeah, that's all for Light Mona. I do want one. I've actually been pretty unlucky with Monas. For most Nat 4s, I do have at least one of the Light Dark versions. But Mona is one of the few that I don't have either. Same with, like, Loki, Tiger, Vampire, and Leo. Those are the only ones that I don't have. Oh, and Siren. Those are the only ones where I don't have either. Light or dark. But anyway, here's Dark Mona. This is the regular and the variant. I do like the variant more. I like the dark colors, the dark hair, the purple shells. Really cool. Really, really cool. And also I've seen Dark Mona more. Variant Dark Mona more than I've seen Light. Oh my god. I've seen variant Dark Mona more than I've seen regular Dark Mona. So I've just grown more used to it. But looking at her stats, she's an attacker. She has really good HP and a good attack stat as well. Her defense is pretty low for a Nat 4 attacker, but it's alright. It's not too big of a deal because you're going to be using her on offensive stuff anyway. Looking at her stats, on her 3-star, she has morale boost for 30% on crit. It's fine with the crit requirement because, as you can see on her 5-star, she has Hunter. And of course, she's a dark monster, a dark attacker specifically, so you're going to want to build her offensively anyway. Skill books, according to the notes from when she first got her books, she gets a 25% damage boost on both skills. No change to the percentages on them. It'd be nice if her hunter got increased a little bit, but it's fine. Where you would use her, mainly for farming. She's a really good mon for farming. You can even use her for DB10. I forgot to write that in my notes, but I did just think of it, thankfully. She'd be really good for DB10. You can use it there for her leader skill, and then just doing damage. And then farming for regular places, regular story content, as well as maybe GB10. I don't know. I don't have one, so I haven't tried. But just farming in general, you know. And then, of course, you can use her for PvP offense. Not so much defense, but she'd be a good attacker to have for offense. And then also, she might work for like Colossus just because of her leader skill. Just to help out with if you're going the nuking route for like Colossus, which is the route that I recommend. So her leader skill and her hunter would be good there. And then she might be okay for like Titans just to get some damage off, but nothing special there. Definitely not anything special. And then I'll show you guys my Wood Mona real quick, just before we speak about priorities and ending it off. Here she is, fully booked, variant, and here are her gems. I do need to get trinkets on her, and I do need to switch some of these gems because they're not that great. This one's okay, you know, got some good resist and then crit rate sub. That was a defense. This is HP with a bit of a defense sub, but I do need to replace this one. And then another defense. So I do have her HP defense, but just because I wanted to complete this set for that 10% resist and HP boost. Broken set might have ended up being better, but oh well, I'll be switching that middle gem, that diamond gem anyway. Here's her stats. And yeah, that's my Wood Mona. I do use her for defense, just as like a filler mon for Champions Arena. No, Champion League. I always forget what that thing is called. I think it's Champion League. Anyway, I don't use her for anywhere else. I just put her there just because I wanted to. Just because I know it's probably not the best thing for defense or whatever, but I did it because I wanted to and I thought it would be fun to build, which it was. But anyway, if I were to prioritize the Monas, I would go water first, just for newer game players, you know, because she really is the starting point for entering golems and just really helps to snowball your progression early on. So water is definitely first priority. If you can get dark, I would put dark next, then light, and then wood, and then fire last. Just fire might be able to edge out over wood if its 5-star was better, but unfortunately it's not, so I do give wood higher priority for it. But then yeah, that's about it. Nothing much else to say about the Monas. So yeah, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. I realize I don't say that at the end of every video, and I know I should, because, you know, I would want people to do that stuff. Oh well. I'll say it when I say it. But anyways, have yourselves a good day, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. I don't know who I'm going to do next, but I will figure it out, and you guys will know as soon as it's uploaded. Okay, bye-bye.